Welcome everybody to the SBCC Promise Beyond the Promise Financial Aid and Scholarships. Today's webinar is all about financial aid and scholarships beyond the 2 years of your participation in the SBCC Promise through this funding that has been covering your fees and your books and supplies. Now it's time to learn what is going to happen once the SBCC Promise is completed and what type of financial aid programs exist in the state and the federal government and locally, as well as what local scholarships can I apply to now that I'm ready to go on my 3rd year at SBCC, transfer to another university or college, and depending on your educational goal, we'll see what goes on. I want to get started with showing what we do already for those who are completing their 2 years or just completing their educational goal at SBCC. As long as you're an SBCC Promise student, we want to provide you with these additional benefits that are not advertised on our website. Again, Beyond the Promise initiatives include covering your graduation cap and gown and including an SBCC Promise sash. So when it comes down to you graduating, let's say you're graduating after spring 2022, we will cover your graduation cap, gown, and throw in a sash that says SBCC Promise on it. It's really nice. Not only that, but if you are transferring to a four-year university, we can help you through the reimbursement process to cover your transfer admissions application fees. Yes, this is the 2nd year that we pilot this initiative where you are not limited to how many schools you can apply to, because your dream school is out there, but you also want to plan ahead and apply to those schools that you're interested in based on your major and desire to live. So wherever you want to be, we want to make sure you have at least that opportunity. So again, if you have more information and more questions about this, please check your email inbox for SBCC pipeline. You also want to look out for notifications and updates coming soon on these 2 topics. Some quick resources to keep mindful about when thinking about Beyond the Promise. At SBCC alone, we have a financial aid office, and Ivana is with us today to talk about financial aid and scholarships at SBCC. We also have the SBCC EOPS program, Extended Opportunity Programs and Services. Check out their website for more information. They have really good programs for students depending on your population. And of course, the University Transfer Center, we have Angela and Jenny Erica running their programs for students to transfer. And it's a really good experience through there. And of course, in the community with us today, we have Alejandra and Raul from the Scholarship Foundation of Santa Barbara. I want to also give a shout out to Ali Rigonati, who is one of my colleagues from the Santa Barbara City College Foundation, who will also follow up with Ivana as they talk about the post-promise scholarship specific to SBCC students. Now I would like to invite you to add us on Instagram if you don't follow us already. It's at SBCC Promise. You may be familiar with our contact information, but it's posted here. As a reminder, we are open Monday through Friday on the posted hours, and you can always call or email us at the posted information. And now let's transition over to SBCC Financial Aid with Ivana, who will be talking about her role as a scholarship coordinator, and she'll be going through some slides on financial aid. So Ivana, please let me know when you are ready for the next slide, and I'll hit click.
All right, sounds good. So first, thank you, Sergio, for allowing me to be part of this presentation. I'm really excited. My name is Ivana, and I'm the scholarship coordinator here at the SBCC Financial Aid Office. You can always contact me through email by emailing scholarships@pipeline.sbcc.edu. And you can also find a lot of financial aid information, general information, and when we might be holding FAFSA workshops or other sort of workshops at our website, sbcc.edu/financial aid. But to get into it, Most of you know FAFSA and the California Dream Act are the main applications to complete whether you are attending SBCC or transferring to a four-year university. It is extremely important for students who are transferring in the fall of 2022 to submit their 2022-2023 FAFSA or Dream Act application by March 2nd of 2022. It is also very important for continuing SBCC students to submit their FAFSA or Dream Act by March 2nd, because there are competitive grants for which you can qualify. And that March 2nd is a very, very important deadline. Something that was changed in the past few years was the tax information. It's always going to be 2 years prior to the fall semester year. So for the school year starting in fall 2021, the FAFSA and Dream Act applications will look at the taxes from 2019. For the year starting fall 22, it looks at taxes from 2020. So the next year's application, 22-23, you're going to be using tax information from 2020. After you submit your FAFSA or California Dream Act, it takes usually about 10 to 7 days for the school to receive it and begin processing it. Your expected family contribution, or the EFC, is calculated by the FAFSA or the Dream Act, and it determines what aid you would be eligible for or what you would qualify for. The cost of attendance is what it should cost the student to attend that desired school for the year. The cost of attendance is different from year to year and also from school to school. If you subtract your EFC, or expected family contribution, from the cost of attendance, that determines your overall eligible aid. Sometimes students are required to go through a process called verification. This basically means that the financial aid office is required to either verify or confirm certain information requested by the Department of Education. So we in the financial aid office cannot stress this enough, but it is very, very important to check your school email for important emails, not just from financial aid, but other departments as well. The sooner you submit all required documents for verification, the sooner your file will be cleared by the financial aid office, and then you will be able to see your final award letter with what you qualify for. Some students or their family sometimes request special circumstances. So if your or your family's income has significantly changed from the tax year reported on the FAFSA or the California Dream Act, you may qualify for a special circumstance adjustment. And what this means is that your EFC, or expected family contribution, can change, which would change your overall need to determine what aid you qualify for. You have to contact your financial aid advisor regarding this. There are very specific requirements that the student and or the family need to meet in order to qualify for a special circumstance. Next slide. All right, the big question, am I a dependent student or am I an independent student? Well, the FAFSA and the Dream Act applications will ask you questions to determine what your dependency status is. The most important, or the most common ones, are your age, your marital status, or your veteran status. If you are 24 years of age or younger, or if you are under 24 years of age, you are considered a dependent student. So you will have to provide parent information. If you are independent, you will only need to provide your own financial information for that tax year. Sometimes students wish to not provide their parent or guardian information. Again, you would have to contact your financial aid advisor regarding a potential dependency override, because as for the special circumstance for dependency override, there are very specific requirements to meet in order to qualify for a dependency override. And basically what the dependency override means is that your parent information does not need to be reported on your FAFSA or DREAM Act. Next slide. So the next few slides I'm going to go over are what aid you might qualify for by completing either the FAFSA or the California DREAM Act. The main distinction, FAFSA is for permanent residents or US citizens or otherwise qualifying non-citizens. The California DREAM Act is for undocumented DACA or AB 540 students. So it's either one application or the other. You do not ever have to complete both, nor would you be able to. So the first one, Pell Grant, is only a FAFSA offered grant. So only students who complete the FAFSA might qualify for this. The Pell Grant can be awarded for up to 6 years as a full-time student. The disbursement is based on the number of units enrolled in each semester. And there is a last day to register for classes and be paid for them. That is very important, and a lot of students don't know this, but there is a date by which students need to be enrolled in their classes in order to be paid for them. So if you're 9 units prior to that date, and then after that date passes, if you become full-time, the Pell Grant would only disperse at the 9 unit status. You can find the dates for the last day to be paid on the deadline section of the financial aid website for each semester. The CAL Grant can be awarded for up to 4 years as a full-time student. Let's see, sorry. You do have to submit your FAFSA or your California DREAM Act application prior to March 2nd in order to be considered for the first round of the CAL Grant. CAL Grant is a competitive grant, and it does require you to have at least a 2.0 GPA. If you are transferring next year and you miss the March 2nd deadline, then you will not be considered at all for the CAL Grant. If you are continuing at SBCC and you miss the March 2nd deadline, there will be a second round of consideration as long as you submit your FAFSA or DREAM Act application by September 2nd. So March 2nd, that's the main day that you want to focus on to submit your FAFSA or DREAM Act, especially if you are transferring. One thing that students don't know about the CAL Grant is you can actually track your eligibility and what CAL Grant you qualify for by creating an account at the Web Grants for Students webpage. And I'll have a link of all, the last slide I go through will have all the different websites that you can take a snapshot of and have it in your phone. The CCPG, or the California College Promise Grant, which is different from the SBCC Promise, this pays your enrollment fees only. So the $46 per unit when you register for your semester of classes. It does not cover any mandatory fees or books. If you transfer, there are equivalents of the CCPG at a UC. That's called the Blue and Gold Opportunity Plan, and also at a CSU, which is called the State University Grant Program. Next slide. All right, so some of you might be familiar with this. This is the Federal Work Study. So Federal Work Study allows you to be able to work on campus and be paid out of this federal work-study account. Currently, it is only eligible for students who complete a FAFSA for the current year. However, if you are a DACA or AB 540 student, you can still work on campus. The only difference is that you will need to ask the department in which you want to work in if they have a general fund to pay you out of. The maximum amount that a student can be paid in a year from federal work study is $6,000 at SBCC. If you are offered loans and choose not to accept them, then they can either be reduced or fully declined to see if you will qualify for more federal work study eligibility. However, if you're already at that $6,000 mark, then you would not qualify for more. These amounts can be different at other schools. This is just information at SBCC. There is a unit requirement. Students must be enrolled in at least one class in order to be able to work on campus as a federal work study student. And you can only work a maximum of 19.5 hours per week for all of your federal work study jobs. So if you work in financial aid and you work in EOPS and you work in DSPS, all of the hours that you work for that week have to add up to 19.5. You cannot work for more than that. The amount that you're paid per hour also depends on the job and the department. However, the least amount or the starting step that you can be paid is $14 per hour. And then if the department can pay you more, then it would be more than that. Next slide. All right, so the next slide is talking about loans. Currently, the loans are only offered to students who have submitted a FAFSA. However, there is talk about having the loans available to DACA and AB 540 students, but that's still not yet been decided. If you are offered loans, you must be enrolled in at least 6 units each semester in order to receive a loan payment. You do have to go through a process in order to accept the loans. And we have that on our website. We have all the steps. Students also need to be making good, satisfactory academic progress. So if you need to appeal for your SAP, it must be approved in order for a disbursement to be issued for that semester. The interest rates can change from year to year, and in fact they do, but they are fixed for the life of the loan. So the rate will always be the same until you pay off the full amount of the loan. The direct loan interest rates, so the subsidized and the unsubsidized rates, are much lower than any private or alternative loans. They usually range around 5% or less for students. So that would be something that would accumulate monthly. The difference, though, between the subsidized and the unsubsidized loans is when the interest starts to accumulate. For the subsidized loans, while you are in school, enrolled in 6 or more units each semester, the government will pay the interest on your behalf. So if you decide to start paying back your loan while you're in school, you're only going to be paying back what you took out. So if it's $2,000 and you're able to pay it all back, you're only going to be paying $2,000 back. However, if you complete your program, your educational goal, or you're no longer enrolled, then the interest will start to accumulate. The unsubsidized loan, the interest will start to accumulate the first month once dispersed. So if you're offered both, always take the subsidized loan out first. And then if you need more money later on in the school year or the semester, you can take out the unsubsidized loan, just so you can save yourself some interest. Both of these loans are dispersed to the student, and the student is responsible for paying them back. Parents who are able to take out a loan to help out their student can do so. Those are called Parent Plus loans, and they can apply through the studentaid.gov website after your FAFSA has been received and processed by the school. The Parent Plus loans are credit-based, and the parent can also be declined the loan if they have poor credit. The interest rate for the Parent Plus loans are also fixed for the life of the loan, so they're very similar to the student loans. If the parent is approved for the loan, then the disbursement will first be applied towards any balance the student might have, and then that difference will be sent to the parent to be used for the student's school expenses or rent. The alternative loans are private loans, and they tend to have a much higher interest rate, upwards of 8%, 11%, 12%. So they're much higher than what you would have for the subsidized, unsubsidized, or Parent Plus loans through FAFSA. They are also credit-based and can be declined, and the student will also need a co-signer for the loan. For the alternative loans, the student must also have a FAFSA on file with the school in order for the school to be able to certify the loan. And Sallie Mae is probably the most common alternative loan provider for students. So if you've heard about Sallie Mae, they're somebody that students go with a lot. And when you pay back the loans, it's very important to know that SBCC or your school that you will be attending is the middleman for all of the loans. So the school disperses the aid to the student after the student has accepted that loan. But when you start to pay back the loan, you don't pay it back to the school, you pay it back to the service provider. So whoever you made that contract with. Next slide, please. All right, so now let's get to some free money that we don't have to pay back, right? SBCC, well, actually not with the help, but through the Foundation for Santa Barbara City College, they award about $1 million a year to SBCC students, whether they are entering SBCC for the first time, continuing at SBCC, or transferring on to a 4-year. So there's a lot of opportunity for you to apply and qualify for the SBCC scholarships. The application cycle opens in January and closes March 2nd. It is an online application, and you sign in with your pipeline credentials, so your pipeline username and password. The application determines the awards for the following school year. So when the scholarship application opens in January 2022 and closes on March 2nd, 2022, those awards are actually going to go out for the fall of 22 and spring of 23. So you apply way in advance for scholarships that you'll get later on in the year. Thank you letters are required for the scholarship to appear on your financial aid award letter and pipeline. So it's very, very important that you submit a thank you letter for your donor. There are also requirements that students need to maintain each semester for disbursement. That can be anything, including how many units you're enrolled in, what your major is, what your GPA is, etc. Each of these requirements are specific to the scholarship. So for one scholarship, you might need to be full-time. For another, you might only need to be enrolled in 9 units. It really depends on the scholarship. If you are a DSPS student and you have a DSPS unit accommodation, then we can honor the units in your accommodation to disperse your scholarship if you are below that unit load for the scholarship. A lot of you on the promise, you might be transferring or you might be continuing here. Well, if you're awarded an SBCC scholarship that is transferable, then you'll be able to take it with you to your next school. You do have to transfer to a 4-year college or university. If you transfer to another community college, unfortunately, we will not be able to transfer the scholarship. And in order to initiate the transfer, there's certain information that the student would need to provide to the scholarship coordinator, myself, and you can find that information on the scholarships webpage. And I can see that Sergio has put in the website for the SBCC scholarships in the chat, so that'll be there, or the information for transferring would be there. Next slide. All right, so this is my second to last slide. There are off-campus scholarships. So SBCC has a lot, but there are also a lot of scholarships that are available to students outside of SBCC. They can be local, state, or national scholarships. They can range anywhere from your high school to community organizations, to businesses, to religious entities, if you belong to a church or a synagogue or a mosque. Also, sometimes even your own work or your parents' work might have scholarships for students. So it's worth asking. It never hurts to ask. If you don't ask, then you'll just be, in the same situation that you were in. But if you do ask and there's that extra opportunity for you, then that's money you don't have to pay out of pocket. It is very important to research scholarships on trusted sites and search engines. There are a lot of scams out there. So it's very important that you don't give out information to people who are just trying to get your information. So we do have on our off-campus scholarship website, we have that link. We have that website where you can find links for search engines and also individual scholarships that we've posted on our website that we've checked out for you. Also, check in with your transfer school. Just like Santa Barbara City College has scholarships to offer, so do your transfer schools. They might have different requirements than we do. Maybe they require you to just complete a FAFSA or DREAM Act, or it's a separate application the way we have. It's good to check in with them now, because as our scholarship application is in spring for the following year, their applications might be the same. So I encourage you all to check your transfer schools, contact the financial aid offices, or look up on their websites if they have it. The deadlines, criteria, and disbursements will vary for each scholarship. So it's important to keep that in mind if you do get more than one scholarship. And something I stress is always be careful. You have to be very wary when researching scholarships on your own. There are a lot of scams out there. So if you're on a website and it just feels weird, leave it. If you have to pay money to apply, that is not a real scholarship. If you ever have to give money to get money, do not apply. Please just leave that site and don't ever go back to it. And the last slide here, Sergio, if you go to the last slide, is some important websites that I added for you guys. So feel free to take a picture of that with your phone. Sergio also put some of them in the chat. But these sites are for the different things I talked about. And then as always, you can reach me at the scholarship email. That's it for me.
Thank you, Ivana. But we do have one question for you from our student audience before we move forward. That is from Chris saying, is the SBCC scholarship 4 years, or to continue at SBCC, how many years? I believe they're asking how many years can a student continue to get scholarships?
Yeah, it's really however many years you're here, apply. And the scholarships are reviewed by a committee of staff and faculty. So 1 year you might be selected, 1 year you might not be. You might get more than one scholarship, you might only get one, or you might get more. there's no limit. It's basically you apply, and if there's enough funds for us to award as many students as we can, then that's what we do. That's a great question.
Yes, thank you so much, Ivana. That was really helpful information about financial aid and scholarships. Now I would like to go ahead and introduce Ali Rigonati from the Santa Barbara City College Foundation, who will be talking more about the post SBCC promise opportunities through the same packet of scholarships. But please go ahead and do a deep dive into what this all means.
Thanks, Sergio, and thanks, Ivana, for that rundown. Hi, everybody. Thanks for being here this afternoon with us. My name is Ali Rigonati, and I am with the Santa Barbara City College Foundation, and I work really closely with Sergio and with Ivana on the scholarship coordination through the foundation. I wanted to take a little bit of time today just to sort of round out Ivana's previous conversation about scholarships that are available through at SBCC through the foundation. And that is our post SBCC Promise to Career Scholarship and Book Grant. And Sergio, if you can move to the next slide, please. So the post SBCC Promise to Career Scholarship and Book Grant, that's a mouthful. It's the only scholarship that we offer that is solely for students who have graduated, quote unquote, or in other words, have completed their 2 full years of the SBCC promise, but need additional time to continue their course of study at SBCC. It is specifically for students who are working towards a degree like an Associate of Science or Associate of Science for Transfer degree in a supported discipline or career technical program, and I'll run down that list with you all in a few minutes here. But the scholarship is a $2,000 scholarship, and it comes with a $500 book grant, so it totals $2,500. And Sergio, if you can move to the next slide. So who's eligible? You are eligible if you have completed 2 full years of the SBCC promise, as previously noted. If you are continuing your studies at SBCC as a full-time student, so we usually look at that as enrolled in 12 or more units, but there are exceptions that are made to that. As Ivana previously noted, typically that would be students with DSPS accommodations, or let's say that you're a student who is planning to transfer and you don't need to take a full course load. We can work through that with you, kind of on a case-by-case basis. So if you find yourself in that situation, I encourage you to reach out to the SBCC scholarship coordinator, so Ivana in this case, so that we can kind of look over your situation. But the 12 units is kind of the standard for this scholarship. And then you have to be pursuing, as we mentioned, that AS or AS for transfer degree in a supported science or career tech major, and then to have that minimum GPA of 2.75. Next slide, please. So this is that list of supported majors. This is a comprehensive list. So unfortunately, the scholarship is restricted to students who are pursuing a degree in one of these majors only, and it does not cover certificates or department awards, unfortunately. But I'll just give you a second to look over that list. And I believe the slide deck is being shared with you all afterwards, so you can definitely refer to this through the slide deck, and then also through the scholarship opportunities booklet on SBCC's financial aid website. And I believe Sergio shared that with you all in the chat. Next slide. So application, if any of the eligibility, if you are eligible through everything that we just went over, I really encourage you to apply for this award. We reopened it for the fall. Typically, we have about 10 awards or 10 of these scholarships that we give out per year. So there are funds available. Really encourage you to pursue it if it sounds like you would be eligible for it. The application is now open, and it will be open through November 24th at 11:59 p.m. So you have about a week and a half to apply for it. The applications can be accessed on the link on this slide deck. I'll also follow up with the link to the application in the chat in just a few minutes here. And we'll also send it out via email to you all after this. So keep an eye out for that. And if you have any questions about the this particular scholarship opportunity or any scholarship opportunities, as Ivana said, please reach out to the financial aid office. They're usually your best point of contact for these, but also feel free to reach out to us at the foundation. I can follow up with my information as well. But that scholarships at pipeline.sbcc.edu is the one that you would want to follow up with for anything regarding this specific application. And I think that's it for me. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Ali. That is really informative. And I believe this is maybe the first time students hear about this opportunity through a more general sense. And students who have discovered it on the application packet. So now you can tell your friends, those who are completing their 2 years this semester, or perhaps finishing next semester, to apply for this opportunity. It's not a wrong decision to apply to as many opportunities as possible. Just trying to make your options more open and just apply. That is the best thing one can do. So let's move forward. Thank you, Ali, for that. Thank you, Ivana, for talking about financial aid. Now let's transition over to the Scholarship Foundation of Santa Barbara. We have with us Alejandra Lepes and Raul Aguilera, who will be talking a little bit more about a community resource that has been available to you probably since you were in high school, but now that you are thinking about transitioning out of the SBCC promise or maybe transferring to a four-year university, this is the perfect time to revisit this opportunity from the Scholarship Foundation of Santa Barbara. Take it away.
Thank you, Sergio. We're excited to be here. So I just wanted to introduce myself. So my name is Alejandra Lepes, or I also go by Ale, and I'm a program advisor for the Scholarship Foundation.
Perfect, thank you, Ale. And my name is Raul Aguilera, and I'm also a program advisor for the Scholarship Foundation Santa Barbara. Today, we're going to learn about the Scholarship Foundation's scholarships that are available to you. If you haven't heard of them before, that's okay. There's always a first time for everything. If you've applied when you graduated from high school, but then lost the fundings because you came to SBCC, that's okay. That's why we're also here as well, to let you know that you can still apply. So on the next slide, you'll see a little bit of demographics about the Scholarship Foundation Santa Barbara. So we've been around for 59 years. During those 59 years, we've pretty much given over $138 million to about 55 students, and obviously counting. This past year alone, we gave over $8 million to 2,247 students. And of course, this could be y'all if you apply this year for next year. On the next slide, you'll be able to see our requirements. We do have 4 different requirements. The first one is that you have to attend a school in Santa Barbara County for at least 4 years between the grades 7th and 12th. They do not have to be consecutive, but we do ask for a minimum of 4. So hopefully all of you meet that requirement. If you do, the second requirement would be to graduate from a Santa Barbara County high school. Since all of you are eligible for the SBCC promise, that means you graduated from the SBCC County, SBCC Foundation District, which also qualifies for ours. So we do ask you to just graduate from a Santa Barbara County high school, doesn't matter which one, by June of your senior year, which obviously you all already did that. The third requirement is that you have to be a full-time student as an undergraduate student, or be attending a vocational school, or be a graduate student at a Title IV approved school. So let's unpack this a little bit. Full-time usually means 12 units or more, unless you have an accommodation, which can of course count as full-time units. So whatever your school counts as full-time, we'll honor that as well. You just have to send us proof. We do cover you while you get your associates, while you get your bachelor's, while you get your master's, as well as your PhD. So just keep in mind, we cover you from the beginning until the end. And then Title IV, that just means that that's a school that is participating in the federal student aid program, which means that they are receiving funds from the federal government. The fourth requirement would be to be a US citizen, a permanent resident, or be AB 540 eligible. I know Ivana went over AB 540 earlier on, but just to recap what she said, it's for undocumented students who do not have a social security number. So if you're an undocumented student and you are AB 540, then you are eligible to receive, of course, an award from us. Now on the next slide, you'll see what scholarship we have available for you. But before we do, you can actually start applying at sbscholarship.org. Our application did become available October 15th, which was exactly 1 month ago. What you see on the screen is pretty much how our website looks like. All you have to do is hover over apply, which is on the top left, and then a drop-down list will appear where you select 22-23 scholarship application. Now on the next slide, we'll see that there is one specifically for y'all. So the General Scholarship Program is actually the biggest scholarship that we have available for students in Santa Barbara County. This is available for undergraduate studies as well as graduate studies. And of course, if you decide to go to a vocational school or technical school, it can be covered as well. Majority of the funds in this program are based on financial need, meaning that we are going to ask for financial information, whether it's through your the document generated by the FAFSA, which I'll go over in a couple seconds, or the California Dream Act application. Additionally, we do ask you for a minimum GPA of a 2.0. Of course, the higher, the better, but we do ask for that 2.0 GPA. And we give you exactly 3 months from pretty much when it opens to when the deadline is. So the deadline is January 15th. So as of today, you have 2 months to complete it. Now, before I go into the things that we need about for the scholarship, you should start applying to our scholarship the second year of SBCC. So if this is your second year at SBCC, you're eligible to receive funding from us for next year. If this is your first year at Santa Barbara City College, you still have to wait 1 more year before you can become eligible to apply to us. The reason, of course, is because you're receiving the SBCC promise, so everything is already paid for. Therefore, we can't pay for anything from our behalf. So just keep in mind, if you are a second year student at CC right now, apply right now. If you are a first year student at CC, then you have to wait 1 more year before you start applying to us. Now, these are the items that we do ask for the application. We do give you 3 months, so that should be enough time for you to gather all this information. If you are a first-time applicant, we are going to ask for unofficial high school transcripts as well as your current college transcripts. If you are a reapplicant, meaning that you actually applied your senior year of high school but did not receive the scholarship, you are considered a reapplicant. So we're only going to ask for your college transcripts. So high school, we don't need anymore since you already applied once. We also do need a list of extracurricular activities. We want to see that you're involved in anything outside of school. We also do require 1 academic letter of recommendation. So from your professor, from a counselor, anybody that knows you well, we just ask for 1. We do ask you to answer 2 out of the 3 prompts that we have. They're very short prompts, pretty much 250 words minimum, 350 words maximum. So they're more like, if you're applying to schools this year, they're more like the PAQs from the UCs. Instead of having a huge essay, it's just generic questions. And the document that gets generated after your financial aid application, whether it's FAFSA or California Dream Act, is your student aid report. That's just a summary of the whole application. Since this scholarship is based on financial need, we do ask for that information. So if you have not done your FAFSA or your California Dream Act application, get to it. Those 2 applications are very important. And of course, we want to do them before March 2nd, that is the priority deadline. Next slide, please. Now, you have to reapply every single year, not only to our scholarships, but to the financial aid applications. So both FAFSA and California Dream Act become available annually, and you do have to do them every single year. That pretty much goes out for any scholarship as well, unless the scholarship itself says that they're available for 4 years or for a certain term. You have to assume that you have to reapply every single year. So that is no different for our scholarship. So you apply your second year of the at SBCC and onward, even after you graduate from your bachelor's, after you do your master's, and if you're working your PhD. So just remember, you have to do it every single year. Now, on the next slide, you'll see different dates. These are the deadlines, and of course, when everything becomes available. If you know or don't know, FAFSA and California GMAC application became available October 1st. So those have been around for about a month and a half. Our scholarship application became available October 15th. So that's been around for about a month. The general scholarship application hard deadline. So that means you have to submit your documents on or before January 15th. Of course, we definitely don't recommend you to do it on January 15th. Internet crashes, websites crash, it happens. So do not wait until last minute to submit it. Even if it's January 16th, we will not take it. So just be mindful, do it as soon as you can. And of course, the biggest deadline here is March 2nd. So that's the priority deadline for FAFSA and California GMAC application. If you miss that deadline, you will be losing out on thousands of dollars that you could be using either at CC or at a four-year school. So just keep in mind and bear all these dates in mind. Now on the next slide should be our contact information. So for this, if you do have a question, feel free to contact email info@sbscholarship.org, as well as give us a call. Right now, we're not in the office, as you can tell by my background. So do send us an email. That is the fastest response. If not, follow us on Instagram, on Facebook, whatever social media you have. We won't follow you back, but we will be able to check if you have any questions there, as well as post any important dates that are coming up, or pretty much anything that is regarding students' financial aid and different scholarships available to you. Like I mentioned, we're not going to follow you back, so you definitely can follow us to see all that, those images and all that information, because it will be important and relevant information to you. Now, on the next slide, this is mine and Alejandra's info. So you can once again send us an email. That is the fastest way we can respond. But of course, you can always give us a call. We can pretty much help you fill out any financial aid applications. We can help you fill out our applications, as well as answer any financial aid questions. Or if you need additional resources, we'll be happy to provide those for you. We both do speak Spanish. So if your parents or yourselves or friends don't speak English, feel free to send them our way. We will be more than happy to help them in any way we can. And that is it from us. So before I pass it over to Sergio, which I'm pretty sure he's going to emphasize, we will be having a workshop on Wednesday where Ale is actually going to go through our application, and you'll be able to follow along, do the application with us. And if you have any questions, you'll be able to ask them then or on Friday. But of course, before I get ahead of myself, I'll pass it over to Sergio.
Thank you so much, Raul and Alejandra, for being here. I wouldn't ask for a better crew to highlight all these important scholarship opportunities and financial aid opportunities. I mean, free money is the way to go, especially if they are coming from the state, federal, or local community through privately funded programs like the Promise, the Scholarship Foundation of Santa Barbara. All the donors that donate to the scholarships at SBCC through the foundation. I mean, you can get more opportunities than this. You're lucky to be living in this community and having these great initiatives continuing to be available to you.